Good day, and welcome to What's Happening MoCo, an authentic, unscripted podcast from your Montgomery County government. Now, here's your host, Derek Kenny.
Good day. Welcome to What's Happening MoCo. Today we're talking jobs with WorkSource Montgomery's Anthony Featherstone. Good afternoon, Anthony. How are you today, sir?
Derek, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
All right. Do you mind if I call you Anthony?
Sure.
All right. You do such an important job. Jobs are so important for our families, for individuals, people coming out of college, people that are transitioning from careers that they thought they might retire from. What is the current state of affairs in your view when it comes to the job market in Montgomery County now?
Well, that's a great question, Derek. I think, it'll probably be no surprise that, talking about the federal workforce and federal talent that's been affected by the RIFs or the reduction in force at the federal government level is kind of, front and center right now. And so we're seeing a lot of federal workers, federal contractors who have been highly compensated, who are highly educated, have great experience come through our job center doors seeking assistance. And so we're trying to do our part to make sure that we can help them with their reemployment needs as best possible, but then also realizing, Derek, that there's still a lot of need in Montgomery County with, returning citizens or young adults or older adults or individuals with disabilities that are looking to break into the labor market or advance in the labor market. And so we're trying to balance the two to make sure that we can achieve our core goal, which is that all Montgomery County residents have access to economic mobility through workforce resources.
That's great. That's great. Now we can take a step back. We see what the situation is with jobs in the county, but your organization, Workforce Montgomery, does something about that. It's not just aware of the situation. You work with communities, you work with individuals, you work with the federal government. The county government to help affect positive change for people seeking jobs. What is Workforce Montgomery? What does it do, and what is your role with the organization?
Sure. So we're the county's lead workforce organization, and so we're a part of the larger workforce ecosystem of community providers, chambers, education institutions, community organizations that all work to advance workforce development within the county. And so we operate our job centers, 9 of them across the county.
Oh,
Some
wow,
are
that's
mobile,
great.
some are virtual, some are brick and mortar. One is at the correctional facility in Clarksburg.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I think as it pertains to kind of the current, state of affairs when it comes to workforce, as I mentioned, we're just a part of a larger ecosystem. And so there's a coalition called Mobilize Montgomery, which includes county government, Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, WorkSource Montgomery, community partners, the Montgomery County Chamber that came together in response to, what's happening at the federal level with federal workers. And so with that coalition, we are streamlining the communication of resources to federal workers because there's a lot of different resource hubs that are out there. But directly, we're doing workshops. We're putting on job fairs. We're providing job placement assistance. We're providing free training resources, and we're trying to meet people where they're at to get back into the workforce or find the next opportunity.
Now, how do people become aware of these job fairs, the resources you mentioned, the different places they can go, virtual or in person, for help? How do they find you?
Well, I would say check out the mobilize-montgomery.com website,
Okay.
and that pulls together all of the programs, resources, and services that are out there. But for WorkSource Montgomery, you can check out our social media sites, whether it's Instagram, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever
Oh, wow.
the case
Great.
may be. You can come to our website at www.worksourcemontgomery.com and look at our calendar, and you can see all of the professional development workshops, all of the job fairs that are available. And then a lot of our community partners. That's usually our best marketing tool is just
Yeah.
word of mouth through community organizations, through
Right.
customers who are telling, family and friends about services they received. And so it's a variety of ways you can get in touch with us and learn about those resources. But if you just want to come see us and talk to us, come to our job center on Georgia Avenue at 11510 Georgia Avenue and just talk to us and we can pull you into the services that are available to you and what's best for you to help you achieve your goals.
Oh, wow. Incredible. Incredible. Now, what do you have more of on a personal level for individuals that are like, oh my gosh, I need a job? What are your top tips? Do you have like 3, maybe 4 tips that you give to job seekers when they are at square one. They realize they have a need for a job. They realize that they may not be totally aware of what the job market is bearing right now or where to go to first. What are the tips that you would give? And we'll start with number one. I love top lists, so we'll do the top three lists. Top three lists from Anthony Featherstone, WorkSource Montgomery. Number one.
So my number one, you're really putting me on the spot here, Derek. So my number one would be know yourself.
All right.
And know your strengths, know your interests, know what's going to make you want to get up out of bed and go do that job with that next opportunity. And so you can tap into a variety of career coaching tools. We have a virtual career coach tool, which will help you identify strengths, interests, work values, and then identify number two, your targets. So once you know yourself, you know your strengths, start identifying your targets based on your knowledge, skills, experience, and abilities, so that you can have a targeted job search as you start to put your name out there and start to put applications in and start to network and so forth. And I think number three, make sure you have a quality product to present. And that's written and verbal. And so make sure you have a quality resume that's tailored to the opportunities that you are applying for. And then make sure, as I mentioned with number one, you know yourself and that you can articulate your skills and your value proposition. Yeah. Whether you're in a grocery store talking to somebody behind you that could be your potential coworker or next supervisor, or whether you're in an interview or whether you're at a job fair networking. And so like those are my three, kind of know your strengths, know who you are, know what you like and want to do. Number two, identify your targets from an employment standpoint. What are the jobs? What are the companies? What are the areas that I want to work in and I don't want to work in? Fantastic. And then number three, wrap it up in a bow. Make sure that you can sell yourself in writing, verbally, and then through social media. I always recommend that folks start to build their brand on LinkedIn at the very least. It's the only social media platform I'm on, and I highly recommend that job seekers buy into LinkedIn.
Now, are there any things that are different now as opposed to pre-COVID or even 15 years ago when it comes to how to conduct yourself for an interview, how to dress for an interview? And depending on the type of job you're looking for, does it matter how you're dressed? I haven't been out there for a while, but I'm an old guy. So any type of interview I've gone to, whether it's McDonald's or whether it's for like a copy clerk when I was like in college, or even as recently trying to work for the county government, I've always walked in with a suit on. What's the expectation now among employers for in-person or virtual interviews?
So I think as far as how you dress, I think professional is a very relative term, and it's hard to define. And it's hard for me to say this is exactly what you should do, and it'll be right in the eyes of every employer that you sit in front of. I think you always want to err on the side of being cautious when it comes to an interview. It's better to be over dressed than to go on an interview and be underdressed. And so you have to know the company, you have to know the industry, you have to know the culture. You may dress different if you are looking to jump into the construction trades as opposed to you're looking to interview for a business professional position within an office setting. So I would say just kind of know, as you know your target, dress to impress, but do not dress to take away from the attention that should be put on you as a job seeker and what you have to offer. And so what that means is that you want to stay away from things that may detract from yourself. And that could be accessories, that could be certain colors, things that an interviewer will watch as opposed to listening to you. But it's hard to say wear a suit and tie, because every employer is different. But we always say you are better in a situation where you're overdressed than going into an interview if everybody's suited and booted. And you're in there with a t-shirt on. You want it to be the reverse at worst.
And we don't want to say, I think I want to emphasize this. The most important thing for a job interview is to show up. So even if you don't have the Brooks Brothers suit, even if you don't know how to tie, still show up. Show up and present the best you possible. And you never know what the opportunity may yield for you. So this is a little conversation here. Just wanted to make sure that we clarified that for anyone out there seeking jobs, we're not saying we're kind of giving it tips on how to present
Hmm.
yourself the best way possible. But the main thing, right, I guess always is to try, apply for that job, show up for that interview, and then the first day of work, go in there and give them the very best you got, right?
Yep, absolutely. When you show up for that interview, show up prepared.
Yeah.
Show up having done research on the position that you're applying for, the company, important events in that industry or within that company, and with questions, thoughtful questions prepared about what life would be like if you were hired in that position, and what success would look like, and that shows the employer a level of due diligence from your standpoint as a job seeker. And so, what you wear is always subjective, but how you come in,
Yeah.
how you show up and how you're
Mhm.
prepared and how you're able to articulate your skills and abilities, and be your authentic self. I think that's what matters most and makes you most comfortable as a job seeker.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Now, I know we have a couple of minutes left, perhaps. Um, Give us your last like a last statement from WorkSource Montgomery, and then also I think we didn't have a chance to get to meet you, of course, as the leader for WorkSource Montgomery. What is your title there, and kind of what do you do? And then just like a last couple of tips for job seekers out there or parents of job seekers out there.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, Anthony Featherstone, I'm the executive director for WorkSource Montgomery and our local workforce development board. And so the board is a body
Oh,
of
wow.
business led members who kind
Hmm.
of set the vision for our workforce system, and WorkSource Montgomery is the staff
Hmm.
for that board. And so just a couple words to leave folks with when it comes to WorkSource is that um, you're not alone when it comes to finding your next opportunity or finding your next employee.
All right.
And when I say you're not alone, it doesn't mean that WorkSource Montgomery is the only entity that you can come to and that we do it all. But there is a workforce system that's there to support you. And so it always starts with a conversation. And you can come see us at any one of our job centers. You can
Fantastic.
connect with us virtually. But if you are a business, if you are a resident looking for work, come see us. And if we're not the best place for you to provide services, we know a
Hmm.
partner who likely is. And so
Oh,
we
wow.
want to start that conversation. And so a lot of people can do it on their own,
Hmm.
and a lot of people may need support. And so if you do need support, we're here for you. And that's what WorkSource Montgomery and our partners are all about.
And that's what's happening, MoCo. Be sure to check out WorkSource Montgomery and, of course, Anthony Featherstone, the executive director. They are there to help you and others like you to find jobs and live your best lives here in Montgomery County, Maryland. So, what's the name of that the URL for your website again?
So you can visit www.worksourcemontgomery.com.
Yeah.
That's www.worksourcemontgomery.com.
And that's what's happening, MoCo. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you see them out on social media, engage with WorkSource Montgomery is another great way to get yourself started on your next job or career journey. And up next, we'll be talking about internships. So if you're younger and you're trying to get your feet wet in your profession or your future career, be sure to listen up. Next, we talk to a small business that has tips for other small businesses on how to integrate internships and internship opportunities for young people in Montgomery County, Maryland. And we're talking to none other than the Dr. Elizabeth Carr. Thank you for being here. And what's the name of your business? You're not an internship business, but you are a business that has interns.
Yes. So my business is Kentland Psychotherapy. We're in the heart of the Kentlands. It's a
Right?
psychotherapy practice. We do talk therapy for adults and children and couples, medication management, and testing.
All right. And let's a round of applause for Montgomery County based businesses. All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And thank you for all you do when it comes to helping with the health of county residents. We've talked quite a bit on this podcast about mindfulness and wellness and health and also the fact that health is not always just physically being in shape, although that does help. Not saying that I'm an example of that, but there's also the deliberate need for us to be healthy mentally as well. And I know we're not talking about that today, but I just wanted to thank you and your colleagues in Kentlands for that great thing that you guys are doing there.
Thank you.
Now, why internships? You reached out to us at the podcast and you said, you know what? there's all these things going on a federal level. There's some challenges that young people are facing when it
Yeah.
comes to our internship
Yeah.
opportunities. What inspired you to give us a call? And then let's start talking about tips for other businesses like yours.
Absolutely. I think it's always important that we support young people. But now more than ever, because I think the job market is really difficult for young people to get into, and
Mhm.
having professional experience in your field is critical for breaking into that job market. And so I think many businesses don't realize that they could create and stand up an internship program at their office to support young people to get those experiences to help them prepare to get into the job market when they graduate.
All right. Then when you talk about internships, how young do you consider? Not that you're an expert when it comes to, I think, the legal ages for those type of things, but how young are we talking when if you're a small business owner and you're looking to have someone that can help you from a productivity standpoint?
Yeah.
How young are you thinking of for internships?
I think it really depends on what you think they're going to be doing for the organization. Of course, it's really important that it's grounded in something that's educational for the intern. They need to be learning. It can't just be cheap labor.
Hmm.
Really needs to be a learning opportunity for them. So first, I think the business
I'm
needs
sorry.
to
Hold on. I'm sorry. You said it cannot be cheap labor.
cannot be cheap labor.
Okay. All right.
There's
All right.
lots of laws involved with doing it right. And
Yeah.
so
Of
we
course.
need
Of
to
course.
do that, of course. And part of that is having a vision for what do you think you could create that's a win-win, where you can be teaching young people something of value to them,
Mhm.
and then they can be contributing back to the organization of value to it. So it's worth it to the organization to take the time to invest in a young person. Now, back to your age question,
Mhm.
we've had interns for years that are in the high school level,
Okay.
helping with first drafts of advice columns and things like that.
Mhm.
As you probably know, for high school kids, by the time they're a senior, if they have enough credits, they can leave in the middle of the day and do an internship for the second half of the day.
Oh wow. Okay.
And so there's a lot of Montgomery County kids that are seniors that are looking for these internship opportunities that start around like 12 or 1 in the afternoon that go for half day. Right
Okay.
now, what
Mhm.
we're doing and what we have found works best for our organization is college level interns. They just bring another level of experience and sophistication and skills to the table, which is really helpful to our organization. And we have partnered quite extensively with University of Maryland, particularly right now with their communications department.
All right. All right. Now, many moons ago, back when I was a youngster, there were the duties that internships were what interns had to do.
Uh-huh.
Like you do all this grunt work, so to speak,
Uh-huh.
that the bosses don't necessarily want to do themselves.
Yeah.
And then you're able to do some of the more fun things or some of the other things that you may want to do as an intern, right?
Yeah.
You come in as an intern, you're big and bold, you know everything, and you want to do what your bosses do. But back then it was making copies,
Uh-huh.
faxes, mail. There is no mail is now email.
Yeah.
Copies are PDFs, and who knows what else. Other things are outdated. What are some of the things that interns can do for the average small business that they should be prepared for going into their interviews or
Yeah.
even in their
Yeah.
resumes?
Yeah. I think one of the things is, even for me as a small business owner, if I walk in the front door and there's a bunch of dead leaves out in front of my step,
Oh
I'm going to
wow!
come in and put my briefcase down, go to the closet, get a broom, go back out on the front porch and sweep off those leaves before I start my day.
Right.
Because when you're a small business owner, like those old Kinko commercials show, you're doing everything.
Hmm.
And so I do think that you bring that spirit of nobody's above refilling the K-cup station
Right.
or the crackers or whatever. And so
Hmm.
we'll ask the interns to help with that too, but
Mm.
everybody helps with that kind of thing. But primarily the question is, what can they do that's really meaningful that they will learn from that
Hmm.
is helpful to the business? I think for so many businesses nowadays, you live and die by social media and having an online presence. And so
Hmm.
particularly for communication students, there are these opportunities to help with those social media accounts and just getting the word out about your business.
Right. Right. And it's almost like maybe like it's as few as 10 years ago. If people couldn't Google you,
Yeah,
then you didn't exist, and that's as an
right.
individual or as a business.
Yeah,
Nowadays, if you're not on Facebook, if you're not on Instagram, if you're not necessarily on TikTok, then your business, some of the ways that you would normally
Yeah.
engage with your audiences and some of the ways that people found your business, they
Yeah.
couldn't find you. They can't
Right.
find you. So now
Yeah.
these young people who have grown up with Google as a second nature and
Mhm.
social media as something that they were into early on in their lives, whereas we've kind of adopted it and later in our lives. Oh, I'm speaking for myself as a whole
Yeah.
person. They're adapt to doing.
Right.
Now, what type of learning curve is there when it comes to bringing in interns to help with social media to help them be more um, appropriate for your business, and
Right.
then an asset
Right.
as well as just someone that's great at
Yeah.
social media?
Yeah. So this is such an excellent point because they are, when we used to talk about digital natives, now we're talking
Mhm.
about sort of social media natives.
Right.
And the younger generation brings a perspective on how to use that communication medium that I think can be really helpful to your
Mhm.
average 50-plus-year-old business owner who
Right.
is not really comfortable in that arena but knows they need to be there.
Mhm.
But what the business owner has that the student doesn't have is expertise about your particular field.
Right.
And so what you do is you're partnering your expertise about your field, whether it's, air conditioning repair or psychotherapy,
Mhm.
with the student who understands social media and those outlets and how to use platforms like Canva and things like that. And so I think that's where you have that synergy between the expertise of the business owner and the expertise of the student as a user of social media.
And that's fantastic because you're looking at a person with no experience in a profession, but has skills that lend to almost any profession. The same thing, I guess, if you're looking to be a psychotherapist later on in life, then your first steps before you even finish your first few classes in college could
Yeah.
be interning with Kentlands.
So, for example, when I was a student, I did internships at a battered women's shelter.
Oh, wow.
I did internships at a cancer support center.
Mm.
So there are many opportunities out there if you search for them. Half of the internships that I had as a young person were not advertised. I just thought about, well, what do I want to do? And then you have to kind of pound the pavement sometimes and be brave and
Mhm.
approach places that aren't even listing having an internship.
Oh,
And if
wow.
you can explain to the organization what it entails, because I think sometimes when you say an internship program, that sounds like a big deal.
Mhm.
But in reality, oftentimes you just have a vision for what you can do to partner with a student that can be mutually beneficial. And there's a minimal amount of paperwork that you do with the school in terms of their quarterly evaluations or something. It's not really that cumbersome.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. And so you said something a little while ago that really resounded with me. You said hit the pavement or beat the pavement.
Yeah.
What does that mean for a person that's grew up literally in the cyber world where
hmm
a lot of your first engagements with people were virtual?
Yeah.
The first time you heard someone's name or read someone's name, it was online. What
Yeah.
does pounding the pavement look like for an intern these days?
Yeah.
Is it literally
Yeah.
going door to door, or
Yeah.
is it research or
That's a great
Google?
question.
Okay.
I'll just say as an aside, I always like to ask the high school interns, what's the most beneficial thing you got out of this experience? And
Oh,
I was
wow.
shocked one year when a student said, "You made us make phone calls to strangers." And I'm not used to making phone calls to strangers. And
Oh,
that was kind of an
wow.
anxiety provoking thing that I needed to learn how to do, right?
Yeah.
But it really speaks to such a different generation.
Yeah.
You and I, when we were kids,
Mhm.
if we wanted to talk to our friend, we had to call their
Yeah.
landline and talk to their parent,
Yeah.
right? And that's something that's just foreign to most young people. And
Yeah.
so there are many times that even just something like that, like having
Mhm.
students help with outgoing phone calls, can be a really good growth opportunity for
Yeah.
them.
Certainly.
And so again, when you think about when you want to do an internship, when I was graduating from college, I had a mentor in Washington State, and he went with me to the state library because this is back in 1990.
Okay.
And we looked through the yellow pages in the state library for Washington, D.C. to find organizations that I wanted to work at so that
Mhm.
I could mail them letters suggesting that I could be an intern.
Oh, wow.
Right. But there is a
Wow.
new
Yeah.
modern 21st century way of doing the same thing. You can
Right.
still look online for organizations that you think you'd like to work with, get to
Mhm.
know that organization by looking at their digital footprint, and then crafting a letter of what you think you could contribute to the organization as an intern so that you can sell yourself to them.
Right. And so what you're talking about here is unsolicited
Right.
connections to places that you'd like to work.
Right. Because if
So,
you limit yourself to just the internships that you see posted, you are limiting yourself more than you
Right.
need to.
Right. Now, what's something that some tips you can give to interns to be successful in getting an internship once they've identified
Mhm.
a person to reach out to,
Yeah.
whether they've found them via like a reference or
Yeah.
going to the library or with Mr. Google
Yep.
or social media. What's the first step that you think, or what are some of the characteristics that their outreach should have?
Yes, I think know the organization that you're applying to well. Reference
Okay.
the things that you know about them in the letter that you're writing when you're selling yourself as a potential intern. If you are responding to a job ad, make sure you read it very carefully in granular detail and follow the instructions exactly.
Okay.
You and I were talking before the show about how
Mhm.
often we will post a job, say on Handshake, and say, and Handshake is like Indeed, for
Wow.
college students,
Learn
and it
something
will
new.
say, apply, send in your resume and cover letter to this email address.
Okay.
And people will just submit their resume on Handshake. And so they haven't read to the bottom, I guess, but that's going to make them disqualified instantly
Yeah.
because if they can't read those instructions, then you think they're going to make other mistakes at the office. So read the
Yeah.
instructions very, very carefully. The other thing I would recommend is that there's a good chance you might have prospective employers cyber sleuth you. And so you should Google yourself, see what pictures come up, what presentation you're making on the internet, and consider making some of those things private. You have a right to have a private life, but you should make your
Yeah.
private life private, I think, when you start to enter into the job market.
Right. So that's interesting. You say private life because there's this thing about data
Yeah.
and social media really revealing a lot about who you are as a person. How concerned should an intern or a regular person should be when they're applying for an internship or a job these days when it comes to their private thoughts and activities on social media and how they present themselves? Does
Yeah.
that have a impact?
I think it would depend from organization to organization, but I just think in general, some organizations are very concerned about how all of their employees present to the outside world.
Hmm.
And so image can be really important to a lot of organizations. And so think about what's the image you want to present to the world and how do you come across the way you want to?
Right.
Because maybe some of the things that you posted 5 years ago just don't reflect who you think you are today.
Mhm.
And you can make those private.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's okay to audit your social media. I think
Yes.
I really
Yes.
recommend
Yes.
everyone every 3 or 4 years, go back through your social media accounts and audit your social media. It doesn't mean you change who you are or who you were, but you might want to enhance it or remove some things that may not be who you, as you say, reflect who you are today.
Right.
Because every day you learn something new, every day you grow and change, and who you are today may not be who you were many moons ago. And we don't know about getting jobs because of social media, but we do know that a lot of people have lost jobs because of something they posted in social media years ago.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let's make a little transition here from talking about how to get an internship to talking about someone that did get an internship with your organization.
Yeah.
And the young lady is here. She's from University of Maryland,
Yep.
and her name is
Allie Gottlieb.
Allie Gottlieb. And what was it about Allie that it got her or earned her the position with your organization?
So we have found that the interns who are really good at presenting themselves and articulating their interest, and that that their passion for what they do in terms of communications and public relations really fit with what we're doing. And when we spoke to her, it just felt like she really kind of got our values and our mission and was excited about contributing and helping the community.
Wonderful. Well, using the magic of media, the next person you see here will be Allie Gottlieb. And we're back with Allie Gottlieb.
Hello.
Allie, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So we've learned quite a bit from Dr. Carr about what interns should be mindful of as they research and apply for internships, and also what it takes to be a good intern. But from your perspective, what is it like as a college-age intern in today's society in Montgomery County, Maryland?
I think it's tough. a lot of people I know were really struggling. It's a major stressor for people because it feels like your career is dependent on finding an internship. So I think for a lot of people, it becomes something bigger than an internship. It like
Mhm.
becomes something that they place their value and their future on. And I think that makes um it just makes it tough. Like
Right.
a lot of people don't like talking about it because it's so stressful. And when someone does get one, they feel a little bit bad and guilty and they don't really want to post about it because so many other people are just completely stressed and it's just not a super fun topic anywhere.
Oh, wow. So someone would think, in many cases, internships are unpaid.
Mhm.
Was your internship paid or unpaid or?
It is paid.
Okay.
It's about 50-50, I say, with
Okay.
people being paid and not paid.
Mhm.
It depends on your area of interest and how you're doing the internship. A lot of remote ones tend to be unpaid and in-person tends to be paid.
Now, what was your experience like finding this opportunity with Kentlands? And what was your once you found out about the opportunity? What did you do to get the job? What do you think helped you to earn the position?
So it just kind of fell into my lap. My dad sent me an email and he was like, "Hey, look at this." And I'd applied a lot of places and heard back from maybe like two of them, and they were both no's.
Oh,
Like
wow. Okay.
the issue is you kind of get it feels like you're sending them into a void a little bit.
Hmm.
And I went and I checked out Kentland's website and I looked over their homepage and I looked over their internship responsibilities and requirements. And I really liked that. I felt like they tailored the internship to the person who got it. So had I been a psych major, it would have
Hmm.
been more psych focused, but I'm a PR major.
Okay.
So was it's tailored to the person who gets it. And I really liked that. I thought I could tell that Dr. Carr was looking to help someone in the
Right.
community rather than, again, looking for someone to do cheap labor.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
All right.
so that stuck out to me a lot. And I think just the values of the company, especially
Hmm.
like when I went and I spoke to Dr. Carr, I felt like we aligned on a lot of things. And the interview was not serious or stuffy. It was very laid
Okay.
back and relaxed, which I enjoyed. I don't really tend to get nervous at interviews, but I know that they're a major stressor for people.
Hmm.
So I thought that was really telling of what kind of place it was to work at.
And what does that experience mean to you to be able to find this? Is this your first internship in college, or is there?
I
Okay.
had one last year
Hmm.
and it was remote and it was a great place to work. But it wasn't it I don't want to say anything.
That's okay.
Um,
That's fine. So this year is a bit
mhm.
different. The last one was remote. This one's more in person.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're able to use your skills as a PR person.
Mhm.
What ways did Kentlands reshape the internship or shape the internship around your specific skill set?
So I do a lot of the social media posting. There's me and another intern.
Hmm.
So that's been super helpful because obviously I'm learning about this stuff in my classes, but I'm not doing the stuff I'm learning about. I'm
Right,
just learning what the concepts are. And at this internship, I get to apply those concepts,
right.
which I think is super important because had I not gotten it, I would not have known how to apply some of the things
Hmm.
that I'm learning, like SEOs or like generally how to use Canva. Like this stuff is what we're learning in class. Like we learn about all these things, but we're
Right.
not actually doing them.
And SEO for people that aren't initiated, search engine optimization.
Mhm.
And Canva is a cloud-based AI, quasi AI graphic design tool.
It's like not as much
Yeah,
AI, but it is like you're making graphics on it.
yeah. Okay, great. So you're able to, so you're learning this stuff in school, and at the same time, in your internship, you're getting practical experience
Yeah.
using some of the things that
Mhm.
you're learning about in school.
Mhm.
How does that give you an edge over some of your peers?
I think so, yeah. I think if you were to go straight into a job post grad and you hadn't done any internship experience, you would be a little bit shocked. Like if I was just taking my classes and not doing any extracurriculars or
Hmm.
going to any events for my majors. Like I will go to networking events and stuff. If I was not going to those, I think I would be
Right.
missing a lot of information that is kind of crucial to know about the field I'm going into. And I think it helped me feel better in my decision about what my major is. But had I not done that, I think I would have been entirely unprepared.
Wow. All right. Now, what would you say to other young people like yourself that are seeking to enhance their ability to get jobs after they finish school? What would you say to them to give them tips on how to get an internship, and what would you say to them how to get the most out of their internship?
I think to get an internship, a lot of people struggle with not having any experience and then not getting the internship because they have no experience. And to that, I think making use of the resources at your school or university, like joining organizations and clubs and making positions for yourself in those clubs, will really help your chances because that is experience in its own way, even if it's not an internship. And I think once you're in an internship, you just have to, like, in my mind, like, this is my job. Like, I treat it as such. Like, I take it very seriously. And I
Mhm.
think that's the best way. Like, I want to absorb all the information that I'm getting. Like, I want to be like a sponge.
All
Like, I
right.
want to know everything there is to know.
Fantastic, fantastic. So let's play a little game here, okay? All right, you are a PR major,
Mhm.
and you're getting some PR experience through your internship here. You haven't learned all that you're going to know about public relations, which is PR. PR is public relations, right?
Mhm.
Um, and you have your client. Your first client is Kentlands.
Mhm.
Give us your best spiel to let people know about where you're working now.
About Kentlands?
About Kentlands.
Okay.
If you were to give maybe a social media post or just something to provide information for people that are looking for therapists in the Montgomery County area and why they should use Kentlands.
Okay. Kentland Psychotherapy is a small to medium-sized practice. They have tons of therapists and they specialize in all different sorts of things. There's 2 dogs around the office,
Oh
which
wow.
is pretty unique to there, I think.
Hmm.
And the space is beautiful. It's not a typical stuffy doctor's office. It feels almost like a spa. And I think that's a major drawing point for them is how beautiful and comfortable everything feels. It makes it a lot easier, I think, for clients to feel comfortable in telling people that they're seeking help there. And I think it makes the client experience a lot nicer.
Wonderful, wonderful. Round of applause here for Allie. That was fantastic. And what I liked about what you said, number one, you took a breath and you thought about what you were going to say.
Mhm.
And somewhere in there, you realized you know all about this place. And the way you spoke about the place, it wasn't just a white paper about an office that provides services. You gave a visualization or you painted a picture for people out there about what they can encounter with the Kentland psychotherapy, right?
Mhm.
But then also, it kind of, because we're a podcast, people can kind of visualize what this place looks like. And even though we're here and we do have video, some people watch us on video, they can also get a sense of what's there, but then they also get a sense of a differentiating factor. I guess when marketing, you really want differentiation, right, between one organization to another, and you gave those specifics as well. So congratulations to you for getting an internship, and thanks to you for sharing some more about this organization. And thanks to Dr. Carr for being here. And that's what's happening, MoCo. Get an internship, learning more about getting jobs through WorkSource Montgomery, learning more about getting internships through practical examples from an intern supervisor and an intern from the University of Maryland. Thank you, Allie. Thank you, Dr. Carr. And thank you to you out there for listening, for subscribing, and for liking this podcast.
Thanks for listening to What's Happening MoCo. Please subscribe via your favorite podcasting platform and follow us on Facebook. This podcast is brought to you by County Cable Montgomery, your source for news and information from the Montgomery County government. Connect with us via cable, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube by searching for County Cable MoCo.